Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
I told you not to venture wild folk dancing. Hidey-ho.
Hot dog.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Episode of Horses Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and over on the other end is my co-host Lou Gelfond, and our special guest today is Mr. John Bilinski Sr., sitting right here with the banjo. So welcome to the show, Mr. Bilinski. Nice to see you here.
Nice to see you guys.
It's a pleasure, John. It's a pleasure. And John is a banjo player extraordinaire. This banjo is a special kind of banjo I think we got here, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this banjo happens to be a tenor banjo. And it's somewhat different than the banjos most people see today, which are 5-string plectrum banjos. And they are played with 2 picks on this finger and a pick on this finger. And they have 3 fingers that they do this thing with. This is played with 1 pick. Years ago, it was really not a melody instrument per se as such. It was mostly rhythmic, playing chords and keeping the orchestra in the beat with the drummer and the bass and so forth. However, times have changed, and we like to do nice melody work on them too. And we look forward to it.
Well,
One of the most fascinating things about Mr. Bilinski, I first met Mr. Bilinski on the phone, on a telephone. We had a job that needed a bunch of banjo players, so I called up a bunch of banjo players, and John here fascinated me with some of his stories. The first thing I think he mentioned that really caught my ear was that you used to play, as a kid, you used to play in speakeasies.
That's right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experiences with that?
If you can tell us.
Well, these were the days of the Depression, and came from the coal mining section of Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and all your neighbors, the majority of the people worked in the coal mines. And that meant when Papa went down a little dirt street, which most of them weren't paved in them days, or anything else, went down to the mines. If he had 3 sons, they would go down like you'd see a duck going down with the 3 little ones behind it. It would be this size, and that size. At the age of 12, they used to work in the breaker, sorting out different coals and so forth, while Papa went into the mines. And if he had a son 15 or 16, his son would go in as his laborer. This was a way of life. And we used to watch all these things and so forth. Howsoever, a friend one day traded me an accordion for a pair of skates, which I had. I gave him the skates for the accordion. He'd had it for, a year or so. He couldn't play. It just wouldn't come to him. It was one of those old chromatic button-type instruments. I learned to play it real quick, and his mother come over the house, and she says, "That's his accordion." And she says, "Well, we traded the skates." He says, "What are you going to do with it?" I played. She said, "Let's hear you." And I played for her. She says, "You keep it." And this is the way it all started out. But the truth of the matter is, with this particular accordion, a little later, we were about age about 11, myself and my friend, which was 13, we dress up in sailor suits, white sailor suits, the white hats. I'd play the squeeze box, and he'd play the washboard with the thimbles on his fingers. And he'd have a harmonica rigged up like this, and a kazoo here, and a horn over here, and we'd stick into the speakeasies. And we'd play these things around in the speakeasies, and people give you a nickel. Sometimes you'd get a dime and all that, and other things too. But the biggest thing that would really happen with this stuff is, in them days, it was all moonshine. And the big lads in the area one time left the house, and they came back about a week or so later, and they drove down the street with the big trucks loaded with hay. Well, what they really did was hijack a truckload of booze from Canada. And when this happened, everybody had a party for free. They filled up everybody's buckets and whatnot, and then they took off and come back driving cars after that, which they didn't have. But they hired the 2 kids to play at Peter Mary's Creek, which was up just below Bear Creek going into the Pocono Mountains. And everybody would have a good time. The kids would play. We'd sing and play, and everybody would dance. And this was a way of life, so to speak. And Zook and I, which is Isidore, Shrokey, really, we played on radio. We had a little program, and people would write in letters for us to play tunes for them, which we did. And then, of course, came Prohibition was repealed and whatnot. And the first day of the repeal, our group, the Heights Melody Boys, got together, and we played all over town, all over everywhere. And we had radio programs, WBRE, WBAX, and so forth. We had a lot of fun. We played at an awful lot of weddings. And when you look right back at it, it was the people, the closeness, the harmony. You'd sit on the back porch. Everybody'd come out and they'd sing. They didn't have any $2 $5 bills for a sandwich in them days. $5 bill would keep a family of 5 living for over a week.
I was thinking when you mentioned a dime, a penny was like a 50-cent piece is now, and a nickel must have been the equivalent of a dollar and a $5. I don't know. If you had a nickel, you were a rich person for the afternoon.
2 years ago, going back home, I said to my sisters, let's go out and get a nice hot dog with chili and onions like we used to years ago. And she says, fine, let's go down to Abe's. God, I haven't been there in years. So we drove down, and as we walked in, my sister said, do you remember the night the orchestra came home from playing at San Souci Park? And He said, everybody came to our house, the girlfriends, the boys, he said, the neighbors who were there. He said, somebody got a case of beer, which I believe was either 90 or $1.20 a case in them days. Anyway, my sister and I did go into this place for hot dogs. 20 hot dogs and 20 hamburgers. Everything on it, all wrapped up in a nice big bundle. So she says, remember what you paid the man? I said, let me think. Don't think. I never forgot. I said, okay, honey, you never forgot. He says, remember? The man says you owe me $2. They were a nickel apiece. Oh, but nickels were hard to come by.
Now what's that? What's the equivalent these days?
$1.30, $1.50, some places $1.65. And I did play about 3-4 months ago. We stopped at a place. They were $1.85 a piece. Big difference.
We need to take a little break now for some information, and we'll come back with some music. See you in a bit.
Have you seen this man's face before? I know it's kind of scary, but he runs the Pride and Parsippany race, which is happening May 5th and October 6th of 1991. He's Rich Hantman, and he'll be glad to help all the corporate sponsors that are interested in sponsoring the Pride and Parsippany race. You can reach Rich at 335-7772. Shock him. Call him at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, seriously, call him at 335-7772 if you're interested in sponsoring this year's event.
Hi, my name's Mike Savarese, and I know you've all been waiting to see my new show, which is going to start airing here on Channel 3. It's going to start April 9th, 10th, and 11th at 7:30. And hey, how about this? My show comes on before his. It's called Sports Collector Showcase.
How about that? The new Our Town, Our Perspectives. After Sports Collector Showcase, it's about time they're running something good.
We'll see when the ratings come out.
Dummy. You're pathetic. You little brass.
Child abuse is also known by some other words.
Jerk. You moron. You're so clumsy.
Words like these can hit as hard as a fist.
You were never born. I hate you.
What you say to your children can determine how they feel about
You
themselves
slob. You're worthless.
and how they feel about you. Get the picture. Stop using words that hurt. Start using words that help. For helpful information, contact us.
just a little ragtime.
A little ragtime piece, and a
little
piece that
ragtime.
we don't even know the name of.
Well,
Maybe John made it up.
I remember piano rag is the medley that went in on the second part of it. The first one, I really never remembered or ever heard the name to it. So, but it stuck for me for all these years.
So a little ragtime banjo. We're back here on Horses Sing None of It with Mr. John Bilinski Sr., our guest today. Lou Gelfond holding the fiddle over there, and I'm Ralph Litwin.
There's a mandolin somewhere around here. I think you,
Yeah, you feel like playing a little mandolin for us?
you used to own a stratolin like that. You finished one time. Very sweet sound instrument.
Yes.
And this is one of your, well, you've got many instruments. You play accordion and...
Not anymore.
Not anymore? Well, you did a while back, but
Oh, yeah.
mandolin and tenor banjo is dear to my heart too, because I got to be a tenor player myself. So I'm looking at a nice Gibson you've got there, and it really sounds good.
Well, thank you. I think an awful lot of the instrument.
And this is the stratolin.
Yeah.
What kind of sounds do you get out of this? And you say, I know I play mandolin too, and I think of notes and keys, and you're saying, oh, you go into getting those scales and notes and whatever. And you were saying to me, well, you play by ear, and what you figure out is what you know. And it sounded
right.
awful good when I was listening to before.
Well,
you could treat us to
thank you.
a couple things here.
Anything in particular?
Whatever pops to your mind, whatever you'd like to play for us.
You mean you don't want to join? You want to just sit and listen?
Well,
If you tell us what key you're going to play in, we might join in.
if it's in the first letters of the alphabet up to H, we're okay.
All right. These things are beautiful when they play music, the European, South America, and so forth, the Slavonic races, and you name all of them. They fit with everything that there is. And I generally love to play Italian music when I'm playing this. I play the Slavonic things and so forth. But there's a little bluegrass also, if you care for that. Yeah, you want to join me in the key of D?
We'll try.
Sure.
All set? He picks it up just like the old gypsies did when I was a kid I played with. And he just hits and chords on that thing and everything else. Very, very, very gratifying to sit with somebody who can do this thing again.
Yes, I try not to use it as firewood too often. There are other purposes for this.
All right, I think we need to take us another little break, and we'll be back in a few minutes with Horses Sing None of It.
Hi, I'm Nancy Schill from the Fiddlesticks Cloggers. I'd like to tell you about the Folk Music Society of Northern New Jersey. It's a nonprofit folk music organization. They have concerts at the Eagle Rock Avenue Environmental Center in Roseland. And they also have concerts at the Ethical Culture Society in Maplewood. They have a newsletter they put out on a regular basis, and they have house parties and different events at different times of the year. If you'd like to know more about it, we'll give you the address where you can write, and you can become a member or just find out some information about when the concerts are. It's at 621 Eagle Rock Avenue, Roseland, New Jersey. The number will be on the screen for you, and I hope I'll see you there.
Hi, I'm this guy, and I'd like to tell you about the Folk Project. Folk Project is a non-profit group of musicians and music appreciators, and they run a concert series. They also run a minstrel show coffee house every Friday night at the Somerset and County Environmental Education Center in Basking Ridge, and they run a little festival twice a year up at Stoke State Forest. They also run square dances in Chatham. And if you want to find out more information about this organization, you can write to them at The Folk Project, Box 41, Mendham, New Jersey, 07945.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Horses Sing None of It. Here we have John Bilinski here doing some fine banjo work, and we were just getting hungry. We were thinking about having some Hungarian goulash. I said, can you play some chicken paprikash for me?
Well,
and John, what'd you tell me?
Well, we'll give you a little of everything, so that makes up the goulash, I guess. So let's see what comes out. I hope you get to like it. If it's too hot or if it's too cold, that's on I tried. I'll try, all right? Get ready to put it on the fire. She's starting to burn now. That's a little bit. I hope it comes out right for you.
Yeah, it tasted pretty good. It tasted pretty good. Just watching those flying fingers.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I can remember way back when. Played with real gypsies. Fiddles, bass, and all that. It's a lot of fun.
Where were you originally from?
Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And there was gypsies coming through there?
Gypsies go all over the world. And there's a lot of Slavonic people there. And with that, where there are people, there will be singing, there will be dancing. And these people play for everything, for everybody. Truth of the matter is, most of the music would be made up on the spot right there and then, long as the rhythm was there. One fellow once said, follow me, and everybody starts to follow him, you know. And of course, there were songs that the people knew too. Long as the rhythm was there and the tune was there, and it was, people had a good time. I remember as a kid playing at a wedding, 6 days and 6 nights, from morning till morning, honestly. Yeah, 6 days and 6 nights.
That's
we were
a
young
long
people.
wedding.
This goes on, and hundreds of people would be invited to a 6-room house, not a hall, a house. Everybody chip in, do the cooking, take turns eating and everything, sleeping in the barn, up in the hayloft, every place you name it, in the cars, outside on the porch. But they had a good time, and they always remembered it. And these are the things that make life go on. These are the things that all the people in this country, they came from everywhere in the world. And we are the products of these people.
Well, John, I'm sorry we don't have more time to listen to your stories and hear your music, but this show is quickly coming to a close.
All righty.
And I think we were going to play that Alabama Jubilee to go out.
You could.
So we'd like to thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure to have you. And we'd like to thank the folks at home for tuning in, and we hope we'll see you again.
Thank you. Are we ready?
Kick it off.
All right.
Bye.